episode 32 of the
I was
Flag to
about to
Flag
say,
podcast.
do we know
Yeah.
what episode we're even on?
Yep, we are on 32 here on this lovely February 19th on a Wednesday. It's snowy outside,
For both of
which is
us.
the internet decided to go out on me. That's why we are
We're filming
technically
this
at
an
an hour
hour
delay.
later.
An hour later, but it's all good. Hopefully, you've had a great start to your motorsports season. You had a Daytona 500 this past weekend, and we are getting in the full swing of the NASCAR schedule. And Chad knows a little bit about Daytona because he was down there this weekend. So, Chad, share your experience really quick about what you did and that big old massive sign you had to wave in front
Oh
of a truck
yeah.
coming at you.
So I've kind of been keeping this under wraps, but I've kind of made it public on my personal social media at this point. But basically, I had the opportunity to have an internship with you know what? Actually, hold on. Let me go grab the hat. Let me go get something. I had the opportunity to get an internship with GK Racing, which was super exciting. It was one of those things where I knew a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy, which kind of helped me out. But yeah, I got to go and I got to work on the number 95. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can say this. The number 95 Backyard Blues Pools GK Racing number 95 Chevrolet Tundra. No, fuck. Wait. Silverado. It's a Silverado. My bad.
Tundra? Out of all that, you get Tundra? You just
Tundra, I don't know.
Chevy.
It's been one race, but here's the thing, like, and so practice it was super exciting. I got to hold the pit sign, which was both exciting and nerve-wracking because it was my first time doing anything like that. And I was told when I see him, wave it twice, and then put it down on the mark. And then as soon as he hits the mark, hold it up, put it down, catch tires. And so that was a lot of fun. The night didn't end the way we wanted it to. John was watching. Unfortunately, the wreck in the Truck Series race at Daytona with 30 laps to go, that was the truck I was on. And didn't go the way we wanted it to, but still unreal experience. So excited. I think the next race we're scheduled to do is Nashville. We're still waiting. They told me that, they're waiting on a few sponsorship things to go through to hopefully be able to make it. But yeah, it was super exciting, super fun. And I hopefully will be able to do it again in late June in Nashville. And hopefully John will be there too. And we can get some motorsports content.
Yes, for sure. We still have to figure out the Indy 500 plans. Oh my goodness.
I know,
oh goodness.
You guys were blowing me up. Like, we need to figure out like the Indy 500 and everything. I'm like, yeah, I know. Let me get through this Florida trip first. But I'm ready. So yeah,
I think Nashville. I'll be able to be there all weekend. There's no reason for me not to be there all weekend. So that's going to be the plan. Obviously, the Indy 500 is the weekend before, which I actually like the race being a little earlier in the season for Nashville in the summer, because those mid-June, mid-July races are hot. I mean, hot as hell. And plus the Cup Series races at night. Thank you, NASCAR. You listen. Which is great. I'm so happy that's a night race.
It's great for a lot of people, not so great for me, because that means I got to wake up early and drive to Charlotte because I'll be working the shootout again. But I was also able to go to the Daytona 500, which we will talk more about. The good and the bad. I experienced a little bit of both of it.
Long day, very long day for a
race
fan.
It was a very long day, longer than I was expecting.
Same,
but
same. I didn't expect it to be 7 hours. So.
Oh yeah. Anyway, what do you say? Well, first off, John, how was your Valentine's Day? You and Sophia do anything fun?
Yeah, we went to the AMC Thoroughbred in Franklin, Cool Springs. Went to go see the new Captain America movie in IMAX. Yes, we're huge Marvel fans. Great movie. Great setup with Anthony Mackie, the new Captain America. As you know, he's the one who called, gentlemen, start your engines. I wish he would have said Avengers Assemble or Drivers Assemble. That would have been really cool, kind of playing together on that. But yeah, went to see that movie. That was a fun time. Got some chicken tenders delivered to our seat. She had some
Oh, you
tater tots.
got the fancy treatment. You
We
got the
went
fancy.
all we went all out, bro, and it was so good. So I had
I
some
bet.
chicken tenders, the fries, the pretzel bites, the icy. Oh, it was great. Movie was really good too. And
That's good.
the funniest thing about it is, if you're not a Marvel fan, um, you probably don't know, but at the end of every Marvel movie, there's typically 1 to 2 cutscenes at the end after all the credits roll.
I'm not a Marvel
So
fan, but I do know that.
yeah, so it's funny. People start, and at the end of a movie, typically the lights come on. That typically signifies that there's no more cutscenes. There's nothing else that's going to happen. It's time to leave. Well, in Marvel movies, they don't cut the lights off, or they don't
Yeah.
turn the lights back on, because there's always something else. So I was sitting there and I was like, let's see how many people actually get up. And I'm like, 1, 2, 3, and I'm like, fake Marvel fan number 1, fake Marvel fan number 2, fake fan number 3, fake fan number 4. I counted about 25 people, and I was like, oh, they're all fake fans. And so people were like, stop. I'm like, hey, it's fine. But no, it was a great movie, great time. I'd recommend you going to see it.
Yeah.
It's definitely a world
Somehow.
builder, though. It's not as much action as I was expecting from a Marvel. I mean, there was a lot of action because it was a Marvel movie, but it it was basically building just having the foundation set for Anthony Mackie. And I think the next movie that's going to come out will probably be very action heavy, just because of his situation that he's in. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay,
So,
that's fair. Don't spoil it. I don't know if I'll be able to see it. I'd like to, yeah, but yeah, I had a great week in Florida. Very long, tiring. I got a good tan. I don't know if you can see it very well, but
I
I
can't.
did.
I see the wrist. I see the watch tan or something, a wristband tan.
Where my wristband was on me all
Yeah, I
week.
could see that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
those are fun. Those are cute.
it was a lot of fun. Um, didn't entirely go the way we wanted to. But it's we had a lot of new drivers on the team, a lot of drivers moving to different divisions. So there was a lot of that, but I think as a whole we grew a lot as a team, and I think the team is starting to work a lot better. But yeah, before we get started,
Good.
one more thing. I see it behind you underneath the tripod. You gave a sneak peek of it.
I did. I
Are you ready?
Yeah, it's already been announced. It's already been
Okay.
announced on my story. But yes, I don't really want to go get
Is
that.
that just one sitting back there?
That's 2.
I was about to say that still for 2, that looks pretty thick.
Yeah. Well. While you brought it up, let's talk.
Let's just go get it.
So this is a project I've been working on for a little bit. It is my official, and it's really great. I don't have to disconnect my mic or anything. Can you?
Oh
continue
wow!
to
Look
talk?
at that.
Yeah, fancy. This is my 2025 motorsport calendar with over 16 different series, 250 races in this calendar. And this took me a while to make. This is what was stuck in Utah. Literally.
Really?
Yeah, it was stuck in Utah. And then I ordered another one. And then that one got stuck
in Utah.
And then I had a replacement sent. Then all 3 of them showed up. So now I have 3. So, but let's look at here what we got going on. So the cool thing about this calendar is I didn't want it to just be all racing. I wanted to showcase different things about the cities that are involved with the series. So, for example, you have Daytona Beach, Florida right here, which is where the Daytona 500 was. And then you have Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, which is where Formula E raced this past weekend. So, if you could tell right there, we are currently coming up to this weekend. You have the Craftsman Truck Series, Xfinity Series. You have the WC at the Qatar Prologue, and then the NASCAR Cup Series on Sunday.
Look at that.
And it is all the whole calendar, the whole shebang all the way through. So,
and John, how much do one of these cost?
These cost a lovely $34.99 that you can get on my Etsy. Yes.
Holy wow! I was expecting
big. It's a big calendar. Like these, like if I saw another one on Etsy that was just Formula One that was $30.
That's fair. When you put it like that, that's fair.
It's a big 17 by 11 calendar. So like,
and for $5 more, you can get so many other different series.
16 different series, because it's Formula One, Formula 2, Formula 3, F1 Academy, WEC, WRC. You have all 5 different NASCAR series. You have the Wheel and Mods, ARCA, Truck, Xfinity. Yeah, everything's
ARCA National or ARCA East and West as well?
just ARCA National. So I'll be
Shit.
releasing little
We need
sneak
2
peek.
more.
I'll be releasing version 2 in time for Christmas. So I'll be releasing
Version 2,
for
like for next year.
2026 over Christmas. But it
Oh my
has
god.
MotoGP, Formula E, IMSA, Indy Next, IndyCar,
I was about to
all
say, does it have Indy Next or anything like that?
yes,
Wow.
has
Okay.
all so 250 plus races on this calendar. And yeah, it took a lot of time, and I looked at some other calendars that have been out there in the world, and really the price range is 30 to 40, 30 to 40 bucks, because it's a big calendar. I mean, it's almost 2 feet tall, well, 1.5. But yeah, you can get that on my SC 34.99. Already actually sold one last night to somebody uh, in, I think it was in Texas. So yes,
There you go.
so yeah.
Is that your first one that you've sold?
Yes, that was my first one. That was my
Okay,
first
so
one. I
that
mean,
means
I
you have
just
to
launched it yesterday.
you
I
have
just
to
had,
go down to Texas and hand deliver it to them. Another trip down to Texas. Sneak
no.
back in Dakota.
Yeah, I'll be. Hey, let's meet in Coda. Uh, hmm.
But yeah, well, we're already 11 minutes into this, and we have barely talked anything that's happened in the racing world, and we, surprisingly enough, have a lot to talk about.
We do. Yeah. So starting off really quick, just going to briefly touch on things going on in IndyCar, Formula One, talk about the Daytona 500, but really looking forward into this upcoming weekend, which is just the NASCAR Cup Series, Xfinity Series, and Truck Series. Uh, yeah, Cup Series, Xfinity, and Trucks at Atlanta. So looking at what's going on in the IndyCar world, Chad, we had some initial tests from
Yeah,
Sebring, and this is the first time we've seen the everybody on track and leading the pack out of all sessions combined. You have Will Power
yeah,
with the fastest time, fastest speed, and he ran almost the most laps. The only person who ran more was Delvin DiFrancesco and Robert Schwartzman, who's a rookie. So
Marcus
looking at the
Erickson as well.
looking at the top five, Will Power topped
Scott
the
McLaughlin as well.
practice charts. Yep, Joseph Newgarden, Pato Award, Marcus Armstrong, and Colton Herta. 5 names that I would pretty much expect to see at the top of these
Oh yeah,
boards at the end of this. And the cool thing about this is a lot of the speed was found in session 3. Pato Award's speed was found in session 1, but overall, it kind of gives you a little bit of an idea about where these teams are at, where the cars are at, and looking at a couple other names here. Connor Daly, 10th overall, great run for him in practice. Scott McLaughlin, though, all the way down in 24th, so that's a little concerning after 4 different sessions, but his top speed came in session number 1, so maybe he had a different strategy going into 2, 3, and 4. But overall, rookies did fairly all right. Jacob Abel, 18th. Robert Schwartzman, 22nd. Lewis Foster, 26th, all the way in the back. So
yeah.
got to take that into consideration. But you have Will Power, Newgarden, and Award, the three big ones. Out of Alex Palou, who was 7th overall, happened, and those are your results. So interesting to see that the new season starts in almost a weekend. A weekend
Yeah,
from Sunday is actually
yeah,
the GP of St. Petersburg on the 2nd of March. So practice starts on February 28th. So a week from Friday, that would be. And so that's going to be a fun one. But really cool, Chad. This is something that I added to our notes. So I'm not sure if you saw this. IndyCar is actually adding a plethora, and that's how I'm going to describe this, a plethora of new broadcast partners to the slate for international viewers. They have presence in where basically all these drivers are from. You have Australia, you have some in New Zealand specifically, but you have a lot of new broadcast partners coming across in wanting to showcase drivers that are in those nations. I think they said, if I'm not mistaken, 12 is either 12 or 22 countries that are going to have their own independent broadcast of
wow.
IndyCar. So I can't remember which number it was. But that's just a great sign for the sport.
Oh
A great
yeah.
sign, especially with the new Fox deal. It's going to be a lot of independent stations and, you know, things like that. There's a whole list you can go find on IndyCar's website if you want to go look it up if you're listening. So I think it's a good thing for the sport.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I think with one, how much time and effort and probably money that Fox is putting into this, I also like to see that they are taking care of their fans, something that we don't see out of other motorsports. Talking about one in particular, but that's not the topic of this week.
We're not
But
going to name drop. We're not going to name drop at all.
no, I'll probably get fined. Anyway, but basically, yeah, it was pretty. It is pretty cool to see that. It's also it's good to see that IndyCar and Fox are recognizing its broader audience. That, yes, all but one of the races takes place in the United States, and the one outlier being Canada. And it's good to see that they're acknowledging those fans who are overseas and who do want to follow their favorite drivers, who have come over. Maybe they were cheering them on in the lower Formula Series or when they were in F1, and now they're cheering for them as they hop on over here to IndyCar. So that was really cool, really exciting to see. Also, kind of on our agenda, we've got the first regular season practice session of the year. It's February 28th and it's going to be on FS1. So
Yep, that's cool.
something that is pretty cool is that we're getting practice on a major network now.
Yeah.
Practice and qualifying for IndyCar on a major network, which is insane, and I think is just fantastic because I feel like Fox is making a lot of good moves, and I'm excited. I don't know if I'll sit down and watch practice, but I definitely will watch the race on Fox. Not FS1, not FS2, Fox, which I think is also just
For
incredible.
sure. Yeah, and really quick, I want to go back. I want to showcase all the countries and all the different broadcast channels so people know.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I just added that in there. So, additional returning broadcasters of IndyCar in 2025 include Giora in Japan, Sport TV in Portugal, Canal Plus in France, in French-speaking Sub-Saharan Africa, S Sport in Turkey, Romania, Czech Republic, and Slovakia, Network 4 in Hungary, VU Sport in Belgium, and TV Cultura in Brazil, along with a bunch of others. So you have Motor Vision across Germany, Austria, Austria and Switzerland. You have hashtag Vamos as well as Movie Star delivering
Yeah.
things in Spain. You have Viaplay, which is going to be showcasing to the Swedish population and Danish drivers, because a lot of what I've seen is networks are adding these on because of where some of their drivers are from.
Yeah.
Canada's sports leader TSN, that'll be another one following Canadian driver Delvin DiFrancesco. You have Sky Group, channel Sky Sports UK, Sky Sport Germany, and Sky Sport Italia will return in 2025. Sky Sport New Zealand is going to return. You have Stan Sport in Australia, Ziggo Sport in the Netherlands, and for the Dutch population, as well as all those other ones that I mentioned before. ESPN in Latin America, Rev TV in Canada. I mean, there's a ton. I mean, literally, it is a plethora. And that's why I use that adjective. It is a plethora of broadcast channels that no matter where you're from, if your favorite driver is Alex Palou or Christian Rasmussen or Marcus Ericsson, and you're in those countries that they're from, you can tune in to watch your favorite drivers. So I think it's great. I think it's so smart. It's so smart because this almost turns into, country loyalty when it comes into these drivers and comes into the sport. Like, just like we are with F1 a little bit. Like, I want to cheer on the American team. I want the Americans to do well.
They don't make it easy.
No, not at all. We'll talk about that and Haas and F1 going into 2025 in a second, but it's a really cool situation to see the fact that IndyCar is getting this global coverage, and I'm excited for it. So Chad, speaking of Rasmussen, speaking of Rossi, we have a splendid livery that just dropped. Well, Chad said it's not so splendid, but it is a Splenda car. We have a Splenda. Yes, the little packets that you could find at coffee houses and Starbucks,
retirement homes.
If that's your target audience, for sure. They're new liveries. That's a baby blue, a yellow, and a black. It's interesting to say the least. you said it wasn't splendid, so I'm curious what why don't you like it so much,
I
Chad?
mean, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't. I feel like the colors don't really mix well. If I'm being honest, like especially the baby blue and the yellow. I mean, I know that's like the colors of the company, but the way they kind of like made it together on the car, like the wings, I actually kind of like how the front wing looks.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just the way it does, and I am just now noticing that the cars actually look a little different from one another, which I do think is that's actually kind of cool. So as I look at it more, it is kind of growing on me. It'll be hard to miss them out on track.
Oh, they will be.
Um,
They'll very much be relevant, and it looks like we have a side by side. Alexander Rossi on the left, Christian Rasmussen on the right. It
yeah,
looks like I think it's navahouse.com, and
yeah,
also Java. No, it's Java House. Excuse me. So on the left is a on the side pods, they're black with the blue
yeah,
top and slight yellow for the Java House Chevrolet. Then on the right, you have Rasmussen, which goes into the entire Splenda yellow. I
yeah.
prefer the left car actually
Same.
of the Java House with Rossi. I like the black. The touches of yellow I think are a lot or the additional yellow on the side pods for the Splenda car is it's just there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But either way, that's one of our first new liveries that we've seen um, in IndyCar. And
Yeah,
so,
and you know, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. You know, it's not what I've seen in years past, but I mean, it's just I don't know. You know, I don't know. It just doesn't really wow me like I've seen others in years past. You know, but speaking of livers and everything, if we also look, we've got New Gardens, uh, Astemo to continue backing of Penske and New Garden in 2025.
yep,
So this is kind of Hitachi Astemo, a leading automotive industry supplier, continues its NTT IndyCar Series partnership with Team Penske for a 14th consecutive year in 2025 for the sponsor of the number 2 Chevrolet driven by Joseph Newgarden. And I'm going to be completely honest, and this also will show that I'm not just biased, but I'm not really a big fan of that one either. You know, I feel like there's not a lot of at least the Ed Carpenter cars have a bit more variety in them.
right.
You know, now then again, my favorite New Garden car is the one on top of John's shelf over there for a multitude of different reasons.
Yep,
But I just kind of like how the colors flow together with his shell scheme that we see every year at the 500. It looks way better on an Indy car than it does a stock car.
it does.
I can tell you that. But yeah, you know, I think it's interesting. But you know, like I've said, we also got to see a new IndyCar commercial for, I believe it was for Award,
We did. Yeah.
and it just makes me more. I'm honestly like super excited for this year,
Oh, I think IndyCar is on a great tear right now when it comes
without a doubt.
to media, and so I'm excited to see how it's going to go. So
Yeah,
we've had a ton of other livery drops. I'm gonna probably see if I can add this one to the document so you could see this. Unsupported image type, that's fine. But we had a Chili's car that was added in,
yeah,
which is you know cool to see Chili's move over pretty much from. Well, I guess no, they had a NASCAR Cup Series car with Justin Haley. They had that whole activation
yeah,
there. So you had a plethora of new ones. You have Kyle Kirkwood's Chili's car. You had the MyJack livery from Lewis Foster, the Splenda car, obviously. A lot of different ones. You had the Prema, which we've seen for a second.
yeah.
AJ Foyt. I would have to say this. I'm going to show you this one right now. You can't see it. Go to this link. We're going to do
All
this
right.
live on the show. See if I
Okay.
can copy this. Go to
Are you
that
putting
link
it in
right there.
the?
Yeah, it's in the
Where is
document.
it?
It's in the
Where in the
doc,
document?
right above the Formula One stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
There
go to
we
that.
go.
That's actually all the liveries.
Openwheel.com. Oh,
Yep,
okay. Okay,
it's
here we
all the
go.
liveries. So the
Okay.
Sirius XM with Marcus Armstrong.
I actually kind of like that.
It's kind of basic, but I think it's good.
Yeah.
You have the EV Tech.
EV. Eh.
Yeah, okay. You have the
It's hard to
Gabe.
make blue flow into green.
Yeah, it's tough combination. The
Yeah.
black and yellow with Gamebridge, that's classic. That looks great.
Yeah.
I love the white nose on it. Obviously, PNC Bank, Scott Dixon. I love the all black Aero McLaren with no white and just the
Really?
orange nose. I'm a big
Okay.
fan of. I love black based cars just
I
in general.
remember. I remember they went. I remember in 23 when I went to the Indy 500 and they had the all black, like all
Hmm.
black Aero McLaren car, and that one actually looked pretty sick. But kind of keeps going through this. We're looking at the oh, this is a test livery. Let's see here, a Velo livery.
Yeah, that's the
Uh,
opposite.
yeah,
Or
which I think it's more bright, which honestly I kind of like. DHL, I love what DHL's been doing with logos. I feel like they look fantastic.
yeah, they really play into their. I love when brands use the logo elements, and we'll talk
Yeah.
about that when we get into Formula One with the
Yeah.
F175 livery
Speaking of
drop.
liveries and everything, and I want to get your opinion on this. How do you feel about Verizon Will Power's new livery?
So it's really simple. I mean, I love though, and this reminds me of the Marlboro cars. I love the white wing with the red. That combo looks
Yeah.
so clean. I love the white front wing. I love the white front wing with the white rear wing. That's just a personal preference of mine that I
Yeah.
love. I love how the white above the um oh my gosh, the window, what's it, the safety screen, the arrow screen. I love
Aero screen,
how,
yeah.
yeah, I love how it's white up there. I think it's clean. I think it's simple, and I think this is where you know clean and simple designs doesn't mean that it's bad. I know a lot of people want like eye catching designs or whatnot, but it's
Yeah.
Verizon. It's Verizon. There's things you can do with it, but I think this is a cool. I think it's a good clean livery.
Yeah.
I think it's just clean.
So I really the only thing I really don't like about it, because I really do kind of like it, but there's one thing I don't, is that when I think of red, yellow, and white on a race car, I think of Shell and I think
Yeah,
of New Garden and I
yeah.
think of Logano, I think of those guys. So it is going to be interesting, because we're used to seeing, red, white, and black when it comes to the Verizon car. So for them to mix it up, hats off to them for mixing it up and actually doing a halfway decent job of it.
Right.
Just, my only issue is just, I guess I'm not a big fan of the yellow accents, but, at the same time, I don't know if you've seen his fire suit yet. I actually am a big fan of the fire suit, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Keep
not.
going down here. We got another Sirius XM car, the Sexton Properties. Pretty common.
Black faded into red. You got the
Yeah, then we
Prema
have
designs.
Francesco Bernoulli. Then we have the PPG. Actually kind
Classic.
of like it. It's a lot of the classic schemes, like the NTT Data car that we see under that. Now here we go. Now, okay. Looking at the Java House looking at the javahouse.com for Rossi, I actually kind of like it
It
in
looks
this
good.
lighting.
The black side pods I think look a lot
Yeah,
better than the yellow side pods.
yeah,
It's a good contrast of color in
yeah.
design. So yeah, I'm a fan of that. Able
Oh,
construction, and then you have,
here we
what are you looking
go.
at?
I'm looking at the one right under the Able Construction
The
one.
Kiffin Simpson. I made a video on this. It literally looks like the '90s threw up on a car. So that's actually a
Yeah,
brighter blue than what it looks like, but that's bright yellow, bright pink, and so the car
I don't know how
actually
I feel
is.
about that.
So the left side of the car, the side pod is actually yellow, and the right side pod towards the back where it's pink, on the other side is yellow, but like on the
I
right
don't
side
like
it's
that
pink.
very much.
I love it. I love the asymmetrical um, liveries. I think it looks really cool. It looks like you have Graham Rahals. It looks like freaking Chris Buescher. It looks like a
It
Chris
does,
Buescher scheme.
and honestly, I like it. I kind of like it. Like I know I said earlier, it's hard to like this doesn't go straight in from green to blue like we saw earlier
Right.
with who was it? The other guy. Who was it?
The other guy.
With
Yeah.
Delvin DiFrancesco. Like that one went straight from blue to green. This one is a more gentle fade into it, which I really like. And so, and plus, it's Fifth Third Bank. That's their colors. So,
Makes sense.
you're working with that.
Chili's
The chip,
car.
it honestly, it just looks simple, which
Yeah.
there's nothing really inherently wrong with that. It's just kind of looks simple. Trying to see a few of these.
Hijack or my jack, excuse me. That's a basic black livery. There's
Oh,
a
here we
Splenda
go.
car again.
Oh,
Um,
this is a test livery for David Malukas,
yeah.
which I actually kind of like. The number 4 AJ Foyt Racing livery.
Let's see. Oh, I see that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's. I think the test liveries are really, really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking through some of these, yeah, there's a lot of new schemes on the board this season. You have a lot of the same color schemes and color styles that we're
Yeah.
accustomed to seeing, but a lot of brand new ones.
You get a few guys
Specific
mixing it up, and you got some other guys, keeping with what's iconic, which I like.
exactly. And so yeah, that's what's going on in IndyCar. We have all those liveries there, and let's talk about I guess moving on now to F1. So
Yeah.
F1 75 was last night, yesterday on the 18th. If you don't know what that is their. It was the 75th anniversary of Formula One, and they had this huge launch event at the O2 in London, and they launched all their new liveries. And the first time you saw Lewis Hamilton live in person in a Ferrari uniform, really cool to see that. So, Chad, I want you. I have a not really a test. I want you to rank all the different liveries from top left going all the way down and the top right going all the way
Okay.
down of all these liveries uh, for the 2025
So
season. So starting with steak, but yes, go ahead.
okay, so we're starting. Okay, okay. Well, I was actually going to go from 10th to first, and how I was going to do it,
Okay,
if
that's
that's
fine. Go
cool.
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah,
so kind of looking at this. So this is solely based on livery. This has nothing to do for who's
you
driving
moved
the
your
team,
camera, by
where
the
the
way.
team is based. Huh?
You moved your
I
camera.
did. Oopsie daisy. This has solely to do with the livery, not with team's past performances, not with who drives for the team, not where the team is based. This is solely of the livery. With that being said, in 10th, I have to put Red Bull because it's the exact same car.
Interesting.
Now, I understand if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But have some fun.
Well, Max
Come
doesn't
on.
like to have fun, so
No, he doesn't, and he's really not going to have fun. But we'll talk about that a little later. Ninth is going to be ninth is going to have to be Mercedes.
really okay. So I'm going to give you a little heads up on the Mercedes livery. So
Okay,
the top of the car, the vent that's above the driver's head that used to be
the
red,
airbox, yeah.
now it's silver. It's silver. So and you have I like the use of the silver along the back of the car. That's one of the big changes,
Okay,
obviously, with
I
that
thought that
bright
was just a
Ferrari
glare
blue.
from a
But go ahead.
light. Now that I see that, I'm gonna swap my 9 and 8. Ninth is going to be McLaren.
Oh,
Eighth is going to be because there's not much change.
nothing changes. Got it. Okay, I see what you're
That's
basing
really
it
the
off of.
big
Okay,
thing, and kind of going off that continuous trend, puts seventh being uh being Williams. Yes, they kind of have a different tones of blue in there. Obviously, I love the Duracell battery on top of the airbox, but
really cool.
I just yeah. So say that's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. 6, I'm gonna go. What is it called? 6, I'm gonna go Aston Martin.
Okay,
They changed it, but I don't really like how they changed it.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
really kind of the big thing. But then again, I think with Adrian Newey now coming on the team, I don't think their big focus is on how the car looks paint scheme wise. I think it's going to be how the car performs. And, I don't want to get too excited for preseason testing because we all know that very rarely what we see in preseason testing translates to what we actually see on track the
right.
following week. But yeah. Let's see here. Now we're heading into our top 5. Okay. Top 5. All right. Hold on. What do I still have left? I have that
You have
one. All right. I have
so you have steak. You
steak,
have
V
Visa Cash
carb,
App. Yep, V Carb, Haas,
Haas,
Ferrari,
BMW or
and
BWT.
BWT. Yeah. And Ferrari.
and Ferrari. Okay. All right. For fifth, I'm gonna put Haas
Okay.
because it's kind of the same as the it's kind of the same as the Aston Martin, is that they changed it, but they really didn't change it much. And honestly, I do kind of like it. I like it better than the Aston Martin, but yeah. Okay. I've got the okay. Has to be four has to be what's it called? Ferrari.
Okay.
Solely because, it's the first major change, with HP becoming a proper, name sponsor with everything, which is pretty cool. And I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is a darker tone of scarlet red.
It is. Yes, it is.
And I actually kind of like that. Now for my top three. Okay. Third, I'm going to put steak. Because I really like how it kind of fades into the black. I think it's a bit of an aggressive fade into black with that one, but I do like it. The only thing is that I wish there could be more. Now, hopefully by the time we see the cars on the grid in Australia, they've got more sponsors that they can fill those areas up with.
For sure.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then top two, which are you excited about something? You sound excited.
I hope it's like my favorite livery is in this list that you have. So I'm curious if we have the same thoughts about.
So your favorite is one of the top two.
Is the last one of my two top that you have? You have the Alpine and you have B Carb.
Okay.
That's your top two. So
and I'm gonna say right now, it's difficult.
Oh, no, it's not. It's an easy decision.
For me, it's a little difficult. But all right, should I just go ahead and be my first or second? Which one should I do?
Whoever it is, we're gonna know the other one. So who's your second best livery of the 2025?
Second best livery has to be Alpine.
Good answer. Good answer.
Has to be Alpine. I love the color. I don't know what it is, but the way they make the pink and the blue and the black just work together really well. I really, really like. And then Visa Cash App, I like how they're staying true to their roots with Red Bull. I like how they're staying true with that with up top. But I also kind of like how it's not how it has been in years past, where it's just really just up in your face and stuff,
Yeah.
So I really like it. I think it works together swimmingly, and yeah.
Yeah, I just added another image to it, so you can see the front and the rear of the car. It reminds me. It's on page.
Oh wow! Yeah. That just confirms it even more. Yeah, I do really like it.
It reminds me of Verstappen's white Red Bull.
It does in a way. It does.
When they ran, because it was an all white. It has the Red Bull logo on the front, the Red Bull logo where the AirPod is. AirPod. I forgot the name of it. What's it called? The air. What's the thing? The circle. I forget what it's called. The airbox.
Where is it?
That's what it is. The airbox.
The airbox?
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, what the heck is it called? But I love that. Also, it's hard to tell, but they use the bull in the Red Bull logo to fade it into the blue in the back. So it's kind of hard to tell, but they actually use.
I can kind of see that now that you mention it. Yes.
Go to the back of the car. It's my favorite livery of this season. I love the all white mixed with the yellow and the red. I'm right there with you. Plus the Red Bull on the back looks really good. I think that they're not using the green as much as they don't need to use the green. Actually,
so here's the thing. So here's the thing with me. If green is not the primary color, it doesn't look good.
Agreed.
So like I've seen so many times, I don't know what it is. I feel like that's also like my superstitions of being around racing for so long with green being bad. But just throughout the years,
look at steak.
Yeah, fair enough. But but looking at steak and looking at Aston Martin, green is their primary color.
Yeah.
They're building off the green. So green isn't, and I'm no expert in fucking colors or anything, but
Color theory. Yeah.
yeah, but I feel like green is harder to build off of than it is with other colors, depending on how it works. Like, that's why I was talking about earlier. Like, it's really hard to fade. Like, you know, we saw with the Indy cars, we saw one team not do it really well, and then the other team
Right.
does do it really well. And so, yeah. So, and plus, especially green on white, I feel like doesn't work well either.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, green going into black, I think, does work well, like we see with Aston Martin and Stake. But yeah, there was a
Yeah,
lot of talk last night at the was it last night or the night before?
it was last night. Yeah.
It was last night or whatever time it was for us.
3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, actually.
Okay, that's not bad at all.
No, it was good actually. Yeah.
It was pretty cool to see all that stuff, you know, kind of live in the and I liked how they had some celebrities, and I like how the one person they asked about the swearing band was Gordon Ramsay.
As they should,
And
then
I
said
feel
shit,
like,
and then it's great.
yeah, and it's and to be honest, I feel like he has a point. I feel like something that NASCAR in years past has done really well, something that I'm just now starting to see that IndyCar is starting to do really well, and something that I feel like Formula One struggles with is having the viewer relate to the drivers. We've been able to do, like, I feel like Ryan Newman is a prime example. All right, like, after practice at Daytona, Ryan wouldn't go in his expensive motorhome or doing that. He'd go out to Lake Lloyd and start fishing.
Yep.
That's what he liked to do. You know, I feel like Martin Truex, someone who enjoyed hunting and being an outdoorsman. You know, someone who really relates to kind of the market that IndyCar or that NASCAR is. And we're starting to see that more and more with these commercials from Fox that are starting to get personalities out of the drivers. Well, I feel like we're going in the opposite direction with Formula One here and all FIA sanctioned events in general, because, I mean, I try and tone it down a little bit when I'm on the podcast, especially since my mom told me to. But yeah, yeah.
That's a good. There you go.
But
Mom's gonna wait
I
her
try
input.
and but you know, when I'm working on cars or I'm at a racetrack, I sometimes let loose a little bit in what I can say, and I can get
Everybody.
frustrated.
That's the thing, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like that's
yeah.
everyone. Really, John stuck in traffic is my favorite time to see it.
Me
with him,
stuck
it's
in traffic,
hilarious.
or me on iRacing every Thursday night in the INRS. Last week I was,
I didn't see it, but wow. But
yeah,
I mean,
it
it was
crazy. Yeah.
But yeah, so, but I feel like when NASCAR does Radioactive and they hear these guys talking the same way that the fans do, or the fans hear that the drivers are talking the same way that they do, it kind of brings a little bit more of a connection with them, you know? Like,
sure,
a lot of people are fans of drivers off of a personal connection. Yep. Exact reason I'm a fan of Josh Berry. Me and him share the personal connection of being from Middle Tennessee.
Yep.
John is a big fan of William Byron. John, you grew up watching that the Rainbow Warriors and the colored and the flames of the Exalta paint in the Daytona 500. You know, so you have a connection. I'm willing to say you have more of a connection with the 24 than you do with William Byron.
I do, because I was born on the 24th, and I'm a third gen Gordon fan.
Yeah,
and so it just plays in. You know, I always find if I'm watching a race,
yeah,
and there's a 24 in it, I will gravitate towards that car number, that driver, just because of the number. You know?
And I'm the exact same way with the number 10. Back when I drove race cars, I was the number 10. That is the sole reason I cheer for Pierre Gasly. That is the only reason I cheer for Alex Palou. That is the only reason I'm cheering for Ty Dillon this year.
Yeah.
All right.
Which he had a great run at Daytona.
He had a fantastic run at Daytona.
Those cars are fast.
But we'll get into that. But what I feel like I'm trying to get
Austin.
into is I feel like we're taking away that personal connection that people have with drivers, you know, because eventually okay, let's be honest here. You can't build a fandom off of an energy drink. Taking example for Red Bull. All right? Yes, the energy drink, the company Red Bull has done magnificent things, and in turn, it's helped them sell a subpar tasting energy drink. Let's be honest here. A subpar tasting energy drink.
Still one of the most popular in the world, though.
It is because of everything that they've been doing.
Right.
However, like, it is hard. Like, the core fan base for each driver is from the nationality that they come from. The only reason I was a William or a Logan Sargent fan, the only reason I'm a Haas fan is because they are an American-based team, and up until recent years, we haven't had much American representation within Formula One.
Yep.
But
Bingo.
It's also nice to see, like when I would watch Drive to Survive. That was one of the only things I liked about Drive to Survive is that these guys talk the same way I do. These guys communicate the same way I do. Yes, it's a little bit different. I'm not getting pissed off about my $3 million race car getting torn up, but at the same time, you can connect with that frustration, and now the FIA is saying you can't show that frustration. I get cutting out the cussing and stuff like that and the swearing for the kids' broadcasts.
Oh, for sure.
All right?
Absolutely.
But don't do it for the regular broadcast because that just brings more to brings more of the excitement. Like in the NFL, the head coach can talk to the quarterback through a headset in the quarterback's, which we have no hearing of.
Right.
We get that not just in NASCAR, but we get it in IndyCar. We get it in Formula One. And people love that. And we're still taking away, like when you get a headset from Racing Electronics at the racetrack, you have to sign something that basically says, hey, you're going to be listening to grown people in a high-pressure environment. Think twice before you put this headset on your kid.
100%. Exactly. Because they know what it is. They know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Or what can happen. That's the thing.
What can happen,
Human
and
nature.
so, yeah, and so that's kind of my little spiel on that. I don't like it. I feel like you're going to be...
anybody does.
And I don't know why the FIA hasn't gotten the hint. I don't know if you know, John, but I don't really even see much of a reasoning behind the ruling.
Well, so the reasoning that they gave is because it doesn't align with the FIA's values. That's literally the reasoning, is because they and one of the big things too is MBS. Mohammed bin Sulayem came out and said that it was a year ago with Autosport that these drivers are not rappers, and like basically comparing them to rappers, and I'm just like, okay, wow,
that opened up a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah, like, okay, now you're disrespecting rappers, in a way, and then basically they were like, the point he made is like, what would you teach your grandchildren if they heard this about Formula One? Like, what would you do in that scenario? Basically saying swearing is not a good influence. It's not a good look. It's basically considering it almost trashy. And if I don't think it's too far fetched to say comparing it to rappers is like basically it's ghetto. You know what I'm saying? I mean that's
in a way
that's a stigma that it's kind of going at. And
I get what you were saying, and I think that
that's what he said. Yeah.
How are you gonna do that when you go to cities like Miami, which a lot of rappers are from? We've seen tons of rap. We've seen DJ Khaled. Well, I don't know if you can call him a rapper, but you can. But you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. And in a way, it's part of it. Like,
yeah, he said specifically. I found the quote. So.
Okay.
We have to differ. So, in an exclusive interview with Autosport, FIA President Mohammed bin Sulayem has revealed he's making moves to try to change the tone of the content of their fans. He says that the drivers themselves have a certain responsibility to monitor what they are saying, before adding that a request has been put into the FOM to limit the communication to bad language, whatever. Quote, we have to differentiate between our sport, motorsport, and rap music. We're not rappers, you know. They say the F word how many times per minute? We are not on that. That's them, and we are us.
Now, okay, I need to be careful how I say this.
Don't want to get fined. Don't get fined.
No. It's not that. Okay. If there was another word that drivers were using that we hear a lot in that kind of music, that would be different.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I think I tiptoed around that pretty nicely.
That's a great point, though. That's a great point.
That's a different scenario, but like you can't. Formula One is already becoming a series in where Max Verstappen would not have 4 championships if he was in the Williams. Let me just say it.
Probably correct.
All right?
I would say. Yeah.
All right? The car is a lot. We are already allowing teams to make cars that will basically drive for themselves. I feel like every year we take the I feel like we take the driver aspect out of Formula One racing.
In some way. I think that's fair with this. For sure. Because I've seen a lot of people, and I agree with this, and I've said this before, it takes the human nature, it takes the rawness out of
exactly
out of racing.
And that's what people like. That's what people want. They want that rawness. They want that human aspect. They want to feel like the people driving these cars are just the same as us.
Yep.
They already live these glorious, extravagant lifestyles that some people can only dream of.
Exactly.
The least we can do is give them a little bit, give the fans a little bit that says, hey, we are kind of like you.
Yeah.
We share the same frustrations as you do during a race. And I think the quote we have on here on our note sheet of Max Verstappen that says, I prefer not to speak about that, might get me in trouble.
Which he may get in trouble for literally saying it may get him in trouble. And now you're entering into dangerous territory. I mean, exactly. I don't think he'll actually get in trouble. But, like, you're really getting into pretty dangerous territory with this. Now, I hate doing this. I really hate doing this.
Mm-hmm.
The FAA can do whatever they want. They can do whatever they want.
They can.
That's the reality of the situation. I'm not trying to play devil's advocate. I'm saying they can do whatever they want. They had a rally driver, a WRC driver. You maybe saw my post about this.
I think I did, yeah.
And I think we're okay for me to say it on the broadcast on the podcast. What he said. Do you care if I say this, or are you going to find me? Are you going to find me?
Hold on. I have an idea. Wait. Hold on. I have an idea. All right. Hold on.
I could just mute myself when I say the word.
No. Hold on.
Oh gosh, what's happening?
All right. Go ahead and say it.
The F word?
No, say what you were going to say.
Okay, so the statement that happened was it was a world rally or a WRC driver, and he got wait, hold on. Oh, I thought they said I was looking up an article. It said something about Carlos Sainz.
We almost had some breaking news.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second. He actually said something, but it's whatever. He basically said, I'm going to try to be honest as possible. In controlled environments like press conferences, drivers should be mature enough to know when to control swearing. Keyword, control swearing. Yeah. That's a big thing. He never said he's going to eliminate it. So this driver, he was talking about his car. That just went to absolute crap. And he goes, he said something like, the car's fucked.
Okay. Check your phone.
No! No! Swear jar. Have you seen New Girl? Have you seen New Girl?
No.
They have a douchebag jar. But every time somebody has like a douchebag, they put $5 in or $1 in. I'm not paying you
For those
$20.
who don't know, I just requested $20 for John on Venmo for swearing.
This is our first fine of the season right here. This is how Chad's gonna make his money. It's just by
that. I feel like you and me will break even with each other.
I think we will at the end of the season. So
all right, you know what? Just to make it better, just to make it even, John. Fuck.
There we go.
There we go.
I'm just gonna decline that now.
Decline.
Either way,
but yeah.
So,
but I get what you're saying. Like when you're in the heat of the moment, like the amount of times I've gone over the radio and say the car is a POS is insane. You know, it's part of it. It's just how we describe it. You know,
right?
But I feel like,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I would say like there's last thing we'll talk about this, and then we'll go into
NASCAR.
Looking at Daytona, and then talking about this upcoming weekend. You have a certain sentiment about how swearing is perceived in the world at one point in time, which I think it still is to a point to some individuals, perceived as unintelligent, and that's a big perception of how swearing has just across history. I think this is very different. This is different. We're in a different time, and I've seen some of the smartest people in the world swear. I mean, I have. I mean, and that's the thing is, I don't think that verbiage is a direct correlation to your intelligence. Also, speaking on the values of the FIA, playing devil's advocate, they really can do whatever they want, though, and that's the sad reality of this. And it's something that
just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something.
Correct. No, absolutely correct. I think this is one of the worst rules that we have in racing. Even more so with the political and the religious aspect of it. And so I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this goes. Nobody likes it. An F-175, they literally made fun of this multiple times. Gordon Ramsay was out there. He called out the FIA. And the FAA got booed. The FAA got booed live. The whole place was absolutely just booing. And so, and one person who I did not see there, MBS. I did not see Mohammed bin Suleiman there. And now, was he there? I don't know. But I feel like that's a pretty big name to be there, and I didn't see him. I may be wrong.
I mean,
but I'm just saying it's quite crazy, but it's good to know that I think everybody's on the same page.
I can understand excessive. I can understand excessive swearing,
or like derogatory, like calling somebody out live. Like that's a little bit different. That's a different. This is
if you're using it, like me personally, I've learned that sometimes the best way to me explain how I'm feeling about something, or for me to express my emotions, is to throw the occasional shit, damn, fuck in there, And so
your mom's gonna be really mad at you.
Oh, my mom's gonna love this episode. I'm sorry, I love you, Mom, but So I feel like, I think it'd be interesting. I think if you don't want to hear people swearing, then like you already bleep it out on the televised broadcast. Just don't play it. Yes, that's.
Exactly.
You're not going to win that fight either, because people are still going to want to hear what the drivers are thinking in the cars, but still.
Exactly. So, we'll see how far this goes. We will see how far this goes. But that is what's going on with F1. We have testing coming up in 10 days, 9 days to be exact, in, I believe, Bahrain, if I'm not mistaken. So it'll be the first time we'll see these cars on track. So,
before we get into NASCAR, you know what we got to do?
Local
racing report. Today we are headed to Albany, Texas, at Albany Speedway. They raced this past weekend. They had the IMCA Stock Cars Junior Limiteds, IMCA Sports Mods, IMCA Modifieds, Street Stocks, and IMCA Sport Compacts. So here are your top three from all divisions. In the IMCA Stock Cars by 5-star coatings, we had from 15th to 3rd, the number 21 of Dustin Mooney. From 7th to 2nd in the number 10, is Brett Berry. And started second, came home with the win in the number 34H, is Doug Halsmeister. In the Junior Limiteds by CEP Transport, started first, came home third. The number 51 is Landon Phillips. Started third, came home second. The number 1 machine is Bo Bullock. And started fourth, came home with the win. And the number 20B machine is Blake Murray. The IMCA Sports Mod by Dark Horse Racing Shocks. Started finished third to the number 98 of Michael Walkin. Started third, finished second, the numbers 48 of Bradley Poor. Started second, came home with the win, is the number 30 of David Sanford. The IMCA Modifieds by Albany Race Rads. Started second, came home third, the number 117 is Toby Herring. Started third, finished second, the number 26 is Dean Abbey. And started where he finished in P1, the number 87 is John Webb. Street Stocks by Brown Plumbing. That is Brown Plumbing. That is a great name.
That is awesome.
Started fifth, came home third. The number 11 K car is Mason Dooley. Started seventh, came home second, and the number R12 is Ryan Powers. And started fourth, came home with the win, and the number 25 is Aaron Elliott. Finishing us off is the IMCA Sport Compacts by Syntex Electric. Started 14th out of 14. Came home third, and the number 511 is Kelly Van Driel. Started second, came home second, and the number 1 machine is Randall Martin. And started 8th, finished first, and the number 51 machine is Keegan Hallerson. If you would like your local short track shouted out on the Flag to Flag podcast, email flagtoflag10 at gmail.com or hit us up on any of our social media channels. Listen out for those at the end of the episode. Make sure you go out to your local short track and bring a friend. This week's Flag to Flag at the track, there will be 2 racetracks. Me and John are dividing and conquering.
Yes.
All day Saturday, the 22nd of February, I will be at, I forget what the name of the city is. It's an hour south of Daytona. But I will be at Space Coast Quarter Midget Association for the Dixie Shootout Series regional event. I will be announcing the events. So if you're heading out to that race, go ahead and say hey. Or if you are going to be or if you were going to be right outside of Atlanta, Georgia, in the Hampton, Georgia area, make sure you go, and you're going to be at the race this weekend. Birthday present for John. John is going to Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yes, I am.
Which is pretty interesting. I've heard a lot of the guys talk about, Atlanta used to be the first real race of the year because it wasn't a drafting track. Well, it's pretty interesting. We have 2 drafting tracks, and then guess what? COTA.
And then COTA. I love it. I think
it's gonna be cool. Who was this, like a birthday present for yourself? Because your birthday is
on Monday.
Tuesday.
Yeah, so we were trying to figure out what I want to do.
Monday or Tuesday?
Monday, 24th.
I thought it was the 25th. Okay, 24th.
Wow, I shouldn't have told you so you could be wrong and make you feel bad.
Do you want to really know how I remember it?
Yeah, I know.
What was your birthday a year ago, bud? Do you really want to know how I remember?
I know.
I'm screwing with you. But was it kind of like a birthday present to yourself?
Yes,
or
it was. Yes, it was a birthday.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, it was a birthday present well, we wanted to go somewhere. We're trying to travel a little bit more this year, and I was like, why not Atlanta?
Atlanta is a fantastic spot.
It's 4 hours away. There's a race there. I've never been to a race in Atlanta. It's a new super speedway style racing. Why not? So
you and Sophia going?
Yep. We're going to be there Friday to Monday. So it's going to be fun. A little chilly.
Who is her favorite NASCAR driver?
Technically, Chase Elliott. Technically.
Is she a Chase Elliott fan though?
I would have to ask.
Is she one of those annoying Chase Elliott fans?
No.
Okay.
No,
That's good.
No. She's much more into Formula One. But either way, though, yes, I'll be at Atlanta. But let's talk about really quick. Let's talk about the Daytona 500. We're just gonna go through some really big things. There's a rain delay. It was a long race. Ryan Preece was a rocket ship, and Byron went back to back with an insane. Days of Thunder moved to the high side to avoid the wreck. Chad, how was your 500 experience? Be careful. You don't want to get fined.
And I don't want to piss off the wrong person either, judging by who was there. As many people know, President Donald Trump decided to attend the race just like he did back in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm thinking, all right, because the president's going to be there, they're probably going to be a little bit more uptight with security. However, they did the same thing back in 2020. So I'm guessing that they've got it somewhat figured out, especially if it's like the 59th running of the Daytona 500.
67th.
Well, 67th?
Yeah.
Where the hell did I get 59 from? I don't know. But
I think it was 67.
Maybe, I don't know. They've been running the race for a long time.
A while, yes.
So what I wasn't expecting was we first got there and the lines were humongous. And this is about 3 hours before the race. And my buddy Colin, who I was with, wanted to get a Red Bull Shane Van Gisbergen shirt. So we went to go walk around. We were going to chill out. There was a 7-Eleven right across the street that we went and got drinks from because we could bring our own drinks in. And we were just going to do all that and just see if the line was going to die down. Well, we did all that. The line didn't die down. So, all right, we'll get in the line. And you know what? I'm a time it. So as soon as we stepped in line, started the timer. We waited. We waited. We waited. We saw Air Force One come around. We saw the national anthem. We saw the jets fly over. We heard the command to fire engines.
Vroom.
We heard all of that. We were still standing in line when everyone was silent, holding threes up on the third lap. And I have it right here. This is the screenshot of it. 2 hours and 10 minutes is how long I stood in line. That is the longest I've waited for any race in my life.
Yeah.
And John, you know, I've been to plenty of races.
Yeah. Yep.
It was insane. It was genuinely insane. I wasn't expecting it one bit. Looking back at stuff, I can understand why, with recent things that have transpired involving the president in recent years and months.
Yeah.
It would make sense that why they would have elevated security. I understand that. However, for this size of an event, people say that there were warnings that you need to get there early. Personally, I didn't see any. Was I looking for them? No.
Okay, well, hold on a second.
No. I went into it like, so I know that you get to a race a little bit early because there is going to be traffic and there's just the regular things you get. Now, luckily, Colin and his girlfriend, his girlfriend Brittany, both two fantastic people. Their families both live around Daytona Beach.
Nice.
So we had, I think it was Brittany's mom, drop us off at the racetrack.
There you go.
Yeah, so we didn't have to worry about parking or anything. It was great. And we got in after 11 laps in, the red flag came out, and we got in, and we just kind of chilled out. And it was, once we got inside, everything was fine. Yes, we were a little frustrated with the rain, but you can't control that. You can't control the weather. We can't.
No.
So that was interesting. And then once the race finally got back up and running, it was a good race. I thoroughly enjoyed it. There were some people who didn't. Personally, I did. I loved seeing the 3-wide racing all race. I thought it was amazing.
That was cool.
And, you know, it was really one of those things where, you know, as super speedway racing producers, you didn't really know who was going to be there at the end, but we had our guys who were up front, you know. Two shockers that were up front was the 01 of LaJoy, who Brittany's sister's boyfriend, who was there with us, bet $5 on LaJoy for $1,500
to
win.
Oh boy. Oh.
Man. And I told him, like, dude, just saying that bet out loud should tell you, and then actually seeing him like up front and leading a good bit, I was like, can I get on that bet? Can I get on that?
That's wild. 1,500.
Yeah, but then that, and then seeing Ty Dillon as well, you know, a name we haven't seen in the Cup Series in forever.
Right.
Now starting to make strides, and
Yeah.
now we're heading up to another super speedway. So the experience as a whole was good. As per usual, food was overpriced, but it was good food. It was good
There you go.
food. I had a Philly cheesesteak that was amazing.
Oh, that sounds great.
I had a fantastic hot dog.
Mm,
And yeah,
very
the
nice.
food as a whole was good.
Well, good.
Everything except for the line to get in, which I understand to a certain extent is outside of Daytona and NASCAR's control because we had such a high profile person. I mean, I got searched by the Secret Service.
Right.
Like
And
I was patted down by the Secret Service.
and I'm curious if also if everybody just got there at the same time, I mean, I don't know. Did it seem like there was like a big group of people going in at once?
There were multiple gates, all with, I think, at least everyone waited at least 2 hours.
So, and that's my thing is like that, are you, I mean, typically you get an influx of people around the same time, just how
Yeah,
these events have just
towards
work.
once we get started, once the race
Yeah.
gets a little closer. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just curious if they just couldn't handle the influx. Cause I mean, if they were patting down everybody, easy. Like I saw somebody that got there at 10 o'clock in the morning.
They were like every bag everyone had, unzipping every zipper, checking everything. Like if you had if you had a zipper wallet inside your bag, they would unzip your bag, take that out, unzip everything in that, put it back. And it was,
I mean, yeah.
I mean, they had TSA there. They had,
wow.
It was a lot. It was the most security I've ever seen for a race in my life.
Well, when you have a president show up,
and that is true.
Like that. Yeah, I mean,
so yeah, that was really my only complaint. Which, to be fair, I don't know if it even is a valid or legitimate complaint I can make. But kind of looking at it, the rain delays did suck. Can't really do anything about that. The race was a long race. We didn't see any green flag pit stops, or at least not many.
Yeah,
which I also thought was interesting.
There were none, actually.
Yeah. I don't know what it is with Ryan Preece and the backstretch of Daytona International Speedway.
He needs to stay away. Yeah.
But I've seen, like, that car popped a wheelie for a good 150 yards.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing. He called for, a change. And I was talking with some A2IL people about this. Like, if you get a car in that angle, doesn't matter what kind of car it is, there's a very high likelihood that car is going to flip.
Yeah. Okay. So
look what happens at the Nürburgring.
Yeah. I want to show you something real quick. John, I want you to go back to your shelf and I want you to grab a next gen car, and then I want you to grab a Gen 6 or lower car.
Okay.
For those not watching on either YouTube or Spotify right now, and you want to tune in to YouTube and Spotify so you can see this more of a visual example. Yeah, perfect. Now, the big things we want to do, I like how careful you're being with these.
Let's down. Okay, yeah. Well, both of them are signed, so I have to be a little careful.
Fair.
Okay.
Look at the bottom of both those cars.
Okay,
we're looking at the next gen car right now. All right. Now, so look at Jimmy Johnson's car, the Jimmy Johnson car you have. All right.
Yep.
Look how many things are exposed. Look how many different things are in the way. All right. All of that disrupts airflow.
Yep.
All right. Now look at the next gen car. That is a billboard. Like, where is it? It
is flat. Like, it is literally flat.
Like, you take a piece of paper and blow it, it's going to blow around a little bit. Take that same piece of paper, poke some holes in it, try and blow it, it's not going to do the same thing. Get these billboards off the bottom of these cars.
Yeah, and that's what I think is a big point, because if you look at the bottom of this, oh, hold on, I almost presented. I don't know what I would present. Like, I feel like there is a way. Like, these are just for the mounts of the base that it's on. I feel like there's a way to add some sort of hole system that if air gets underneath, it'll flow through the car.
Yeah.
Like this. Like if it's flipped, or if it comes up like this, air flows through the bottom here and settles the car. But again, that would disrupt downforce, and that would completely mess up the car.
And so the difficult thing with that is
I gotta go
Okay,
look at
we're gonna
that.
get into a little bit of physics here.
Oh,
So
yay, physics.
you ever wonder? So if you ever watch an airplane fly in the sky, how does it look when it's flying in the air? Looks like this, right?
Pew. Yeah, no, I hear
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Now it's kind of hard to see. It's very apparent in Formula One cars. How do Formula One cars look when they're going down a straight? They look like this.
Yep.
Race cars are upside down airplanes.
Yep.
That's what race cars are. Airplanes are designed to go up into the sky and fly around. Race cars are designed to be sucked down to the ground.
Yep.
So NASCAR has a history of being reactive and not proactive. Take the Dale Earnhardt crash, for example, which we just yesterday we celebrated the, I believe, 24 years since his death.
Yep.
All right. It wasn't until after his death that they started to mandate head and neck restraint systems in all cars. Take Bill Elliott. Take when he went airborne at Talladega, I forget the year, that they started to restrict the amount of airflow going into the motors.
Yep.
What we don't want to see is something happen. Like Ryan Preece said that as soon as he was flying through the air, everything went quiet, and the only thing he could think of was his daughter. He said, me and so many others have been lucky to walk away from these crashes, but we are getting closer to where one of us isn't going to.
Yeah.
This is the first time, and this has been a constant issue with the next-gen car, being the safety of the car.
Right.
And this is the first time in a long time that we have seen drivers actually start to be a little worried about getting into these cars.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yes, it's nothing how it was when NASCAR was first coming out. Yes, it's not how it was in 2001. But, and yes, we will never completely take away all the danger. That's the facts of the situation. There will always be a percentage that a driver might not climb out. All the drivers know that. Me and my buddies know that every time we get into cars. We know that. But what we don't want to do is take advantage of the safety equipment that we have. Take these billboards off the bottom of these cars.
Yeah.
It's starting to get to a point. I mean, we saw it a few years ago with Ryan Preece. We saw it last year with Josh Berry. We saw it last year with
You got Harrison
Corey
Burton in there
LaJoie.
too. Harrison Burton on the
Harrison
backstretch.
Burton. Harrison Burton was the first one.
Yeah.
All right. We are getting to a point where we're getting to a point that we probably should have gotten to a lot sooner than we are right now. And with us going back to a super speedway style track this upcoming week, are we going to see something else happen? I don't know.
Oh. I hope not.
I hope not either. But then we get to another track like Michigan, which is the fastest track on the schedule. Are we going to see something like that? So I don't know.
It's tough. I think
it is. It's a tough situation.
I think they can keep the diffuser on the bottom without having this billboard too, because the diffuser doesn't like you can have the diffuser and have this Gen 4 body over here. Like it's still you could have both. And I think the issue also is the way that he got hit.
Yeah.
I've never seen a NASCAR Cup Series car do that.
Yeah.
The one that I can remember to date was Kevin LePage when he LePaged the field. Like that was the first time where I mean, like
LePage the field. That is pretty good.
But he came up like this. But also, we've seen the other issue is look at Nürburgring, look at Le Mans, look at these other series. When you get a car up like this, and they're traveling 150, 160 miles an hour, there's only so much technology that you can have at this current moment that can stop it.
Yeah,
it's the nature of it. I think that's and the car. The thing was, it's not like the car went like this. The car literally rode on the back. And I think if was it Nemechek or was it Jones that was next?
I'm not sure. I want to say maybe Nemechek, but don't quote me.
Whatever legacy car. I think and we've seen this across a couple of these wrecks, where the car gets pushed by another car, causing them to flip. I think the air coming off of the 42 or the 43 affected of the airflow of Priest's car,
Yeah.
and it caused this because, like I said, that car didn't want to flip. If you look at that, it did not want to do that. Like you
No.
could tell, it did, and I think it did its job to a point.
Yeah.
But I think you had external factors in this which you have to take a look at too, and that's the
Yeah.
hard thing. This is probably the hardest job in motorsport, making sure that these cars don't do this. But
And
again, it's hard to like
yeah.
Ross Chastain. Think about when Ross Chastain hit, was it Kyle Busch at Texas, and that whole front of the car jacked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think about when Chris Buescher hit the drain in Charlotte.
Yeah.
You can't. There's are some things you can't stop. The car
Yeah.
pushing into Ryan Preece. You have an external factor that's affecting the airflow. And I would love to
Yeah.
see. Like I think it'd be really cool to see the models of how they would make this in a simulation to see if you remove Preece's car or when you remove Nemechek or Jones's car, how that would have affected the air and if that car would have settled. Because
Yeah.
I think it wanted to settle. I don't think it wanted to do that. But once he got sideways, is when
Yeah.
you started to get that right rear up, and when you get that right rear up, you're done.
And all the air went under it. Yeah. And I think that we're not sitting here trying to say like fix all the issues. We're not going to be able to fix all the issues.
You can't.
We can't fix all the issues.
Yeah.
All right. And there are times where NASCAR has no choice but to be reactive because it's something no one's thought of.
Yeah, no one's seen this wreck before like this. No one's seen a car
this type of wreck.
done a wheelie for 150 yards.
Exactly.
I was like,
so
yeah.
There's all that. But I do think, but yeah. So I'm interested to see kind of what happens in Atlanta. And speaking of Atlanta, what do you say we start looking towards Atlanta? Well, before we do that, I think I heard him crying all the way from Daytona Beach.
Mr. Two-time. When I tell you I was more shocked with this one than the last one, when he went to the high side, and I was like,
squeak through.
I was like, throw a caution. I was like, wait, no, don't throw a caution. Beat him back to the line because I didn't want it to be like, oh, he only won
controversy.
Well, people are still saying it's controversial. There was no skill behind it, behind Byron going to the high side, even though I was like, he chose the right line. He could have gone low.
He made a lucky choice. That's what super speedway racing is more luck than anything. And now, which I don't want to get too deep into this without any more facts, but now we're getting people putting their tinfoil hats on, which we talked about it in our little group chat that we've got with Jesse and Lindsay, who they kind of gave their 2 cents into it as well, which was interesting. But yeah, it was pretty cool to see William Byron win that race.
And win
I remember my buddy
too.
Yeah. and went back to the line, which was interesting as well. But yeah, I think let's move on to Atlanta this week. Kyle Busch, McDowell, both racing in the Truck Series. So this year, I am more heavily invested into the Truck Series because of my connections, which is fantastic. I'm excited about. But yeah, we're going on to second race of the year, second super speedway race of the year already.
Yep.
And then we go to COTA. So it is really interesting. And I also see you have written down, we're going to have low temps. So
yep, it'll be a little grippy this weekend for sure.
It will, but we're actually kind of at that, what I call the weird area.
Yeah.
Where the track, so a cooler track. So there's a difference between a cold track, a cool track, a warm track, and a hot track.
Yep.
So a cool track, cars are loose, slippery, they can't get grip, anything like that. A cool track, cars can grip up a lot more.
You said cool the first time.
Cool. Okay, cold first. Now we're on to cool. A cool track, cars can grip up more.
Yeah.
Cars tighten up a bit more. Then as it proceeds to warm up, it can also kind of do the same thing. It can grip the track up a little bit because it's allowing the heat to get in. But then a hot track can become greasy, can become slick. So we're kind of in that weird area where we're between cold and cool, Who knows? We might have great grip at the start of the race, and then towards the end of the race, grip starts to fall off. So I think it's going to be interesting. And I think I have my pick for the race.
Okay. Who's your pick?
I think it's going to be a comeback season for this person. I think this person is pissed off on how last season went. I think this person is pissed off on how last race went. And I think we are going to see a resurgence from Kyle Busch.
No, really.
I can see Kyle Busch. I mean, as he was damn close, as the documentary said, he was damn close.
Yep.
Last year, and he was making promise this year at Daytona. He even said in the interview that he wanted to be pushed back to pit road.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's a whole thing about that too.
There's a whole thing about that too, which we're already almost an hour and a half into this.
It's fine. It's all good. So your pick is Kyle Busch, who, if you see the stats that I added into the document there,
I did.
He is the 8th highest average finish, 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s.
Well, can I ask something about these averages and stuff?
Yes.
What are they based off of?
New configuration.
Since the repave?
Yep, new configuration.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
wow. Okay, this is actually kind of interesting.
It's really cool, right? Yeah. So it's very interesting to see this, which some of these names that are up here.
Yeah.
So it's another super speedway. So my
some of these names we're actually pretty familiar with seeing in super speedway style racing.
100%, we are.
AJ Allmendinger, Joey Logano, Daniel Suarez, Ryan Blaney.
Right.
Probably one of the best up there right now.
Exactly. And so last week, I picked Zane Smith. I was my only driver. I picked William Byron live. So I went from 100 to 180. I went from 100 to 180. So I'm actually in the good to prove that, Chad. Look, right up there.
Are you doing that damn 10 to 10,000 thing again?
100 to 10. 100 to 10,000. Yes, I am. And so this week I'm bringing myself down just a little bit because there's 2 drivers that I'm genuinely looking at this weekend.
If LaJoie would have won and you would have bet him, you would have already been a tenth of the way there.
I would not say that LaJoie isn't in my top 3 because he is in the entry list this week, and he should have gotten a top 3 or top 5 if he didn't get turned by Chase Elliott. So here's my issue. I haven't decided my full pick yet. I'm looking at Blaney. I'm looking at the Trackhouse guys. I'm looking at Hendrick. If I'm going to look at those drivers, I'm going to look at particularly, obviously, Blaney. I'm going to look at Chastain. I really like Chastain. I love Byron in this. Byron's won here twice. One driver that I'm not going to look at, which is surprising, you probably don't know this, Kyle Larson. You know how many DNFs he has in the last 6 races at Atlanta?
How many?
5.
Wow.
5 DNFs in the last 6 Atlanta races.
But let's also look at William Byron. William Byron has 2 finishes inside the top 20 at Daytona. Do you want to know what those 2 finishes are?
That's not true.
He does. That's right.
That's not true.
That's what they said. They said he has 2 finishes. I think it's inside the top 20 at Daytona, and both of them are wins.
No, he won Daytona. He won the Coke 400 back in 20.
Daytona 500.
Oh, Daytona 500? Then that would make sense. I don't remember where it is. Okay, I had to be the 500 because I know he's won a Daytona 3 times now. So, which is crazy to see. But fair. But I think it's going to be a mix of all those drivers. I don't know who my pick is. I really don't know because I don't want to go with my bias and say Byron, but also I can't because he's won here twice. He's won here twice in the new configuration, and he's up here in the stats as well.
But who else has won there twice in the new configuration?
Joey Logano. So you have to. I mean, there's a lot of big players. I don't want to see Joey Logano win, but it wouldn't be surprised after last week. His car is damn fast. Also, I don't know if you've seen this. Do you know what this is?
It's the Aaron's logo. Rent to own. 34.
Have you seen that?
Oh, no, I haven't. What is that?
That is Todd Gilliland's car for this weekend. Aaron's is back as a primary on the car, and it's going to be the primary for Zane Smith 7 times, which means could we get a Michael Waltrip throwback car at Darlington for Zane Smith?
That'd be cool.
So
I think we've covered a good bit. This is definitely one of our longer episodes, but in a good sense.
My official pick for this show, at least, Ross Chastain.
Oh, okay.
Ross Chastain.
All right.
Mellon. I've seen the Mellon man win once. No. Has he won at Nashville twice or one time?
He won at Nashville one time. It was the year I didn't go.
Yeah, the year I did go. smash a watermelon. Great sight to see.
I want to see Ross Chastain win in person just so I can see the watermelon
It
smash.
was
That's the only
great.
reason.
So everybody just literally just cheers them on. It's awesome. It's cool. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. So you have oh my
Bush.
gosh, you have Kyle Busch, solid. I got Ross Chastain, both Chevrolets. So good weekend for Chevrolet. But that ends up, I think, our podcast, episode 32.
Yeah.
So if you haven't already, make sure to follow us on all of our socials at Flag to Flag Podcast everywhere except for Instagram. It's at Flag to Flag _ podcast. And if you haven't already, make sure to like the show on Spotify or subscribe on YouTube whenever you're watching this or listening to this, and share this with some other motorsport friend who wants to get into the world of motorsport, because we are, our next podcast or next couple podcasts, we may be in the full swing of things because F1's coming up here in just a little under a month. So
we're fixing to get back into the thick of it with everything,
we
and
are.
we hopefully we will be getting a group together and we can start planning a trip to the Indianapolis 500.
Yes.
And in our group chat, we've actually started planning a lot of races that we kind of want to go to.
Yeah, we have. So we gotta.
It's looking like I might be in Florida for the entire month of January and February next month.
I might as well just move there.
Might as well
find somebody to live with. I mean, you're gonna be there enough. Either way, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Flag to Flag podcast. We have reached the checkered flag. We will see you next time.